Hey YouTube, I made a video about why we need boundaries, and it will be in the description below. So if you've not checked that video out, please go there, and it will explain why we need boundaries. I will touch briefly on why we need boundaries. Boundaries is like, this is what I stand for, this is what I will accept, and this is the consequence of if you don't do this, or if you don't treat me that way. And so, go check that video out. This video is 3 steps in creating boundaries. Number 1 step is you need to evaluate. Evaluate is kind of like when you go into your pantry and you evaluate what you need because you're unsure of what you need. When you come out of the pantry and you go and you have the list to go shopping, then you know what you need. You're not questioning anymore what you need. So, a lot of times, though, people they have no idea what they stand for. So, evaluate your situation. What do you stand for? How can people treat you? What will you put up with? What can people say about you? What can people even call you? Can they call you a slang name? Is that okay for them to call you a witch, or God forbid the other word? Is it okay for them to call you those words? Is that all right with you? For some people, that's not all right. And if they do speak that way to you, what is the consequence of that action? Can they call you if it's 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning? Does it matter? Are you always available? Is that okay with you? So you have to evaluate and know what you personally stand for, and also business and relationships, family, etc. What can you stand for? Do you need trust in your relationship? Some people do, some people don't. So it's personally evaluating your situation. What do you need for yourself? What can you put up with? And what this will do when you sit down and you start to learn how to build boundaries, you're going to realize that you had a disease that you had no idea that you had. And that disease is the disease to please. The disease to aim for everyone to be happy with you all the time. And this happens so often. People are overworked, stressed out, and losing their minds, and you see them everywhere. You pass them on the road because they did the carpool for all the kids for the last 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe 3 years, and they just don't want to say anything to anyone else because they're just, they're just happy. They just want, everybody to like them. And inside, they're not happy at all. They're full of anger, they're full of resentment, they're full of frustration, and they are just a ticking time bomb. And this is what I want to help you with today, is to stop the ticking of the time bomb before it blows up, because you can only put up with so much. So number 1 is, once again, evaluate. What do you wish things could be like? What are your boundaries? What would you say if you knew you could say without ticking anyone off? I will do this, but I will not do that. I will put up with this, but I will not put up with that. So that is number 1, evaluate. Setting the boundaries is number 2. Number 2, set your boundaries. This is where you may have to learn to act and speak up and say, you know what? I will gladly take all those calls until 5 o'clock for the business, but after 5 o'clock, my phone's off. It's my time. This is where you have to stand up and be ready. Have a backbone. Man up, as they say. Get ready for disapproval. Get ready for haters. Get ready for complaints. And get ready to not make everybody happy. But you know what? If you can do this, I guarantee you will have a lot less anger and resentment towards yourself. You will have a lot less. You'll have much more of a peaceful internal being inside of you. But you are not going to make everyone else happy. You are not. You have to give that up. Number 2 is just simply knowing you're going to face opposition, but you're going to have to stand up. And you're going to have to just say, this is the way it is. And when you face that opposition back, you're going to have to be ready with some consequences. And not only, setting boundaries is a hard job. It's kind of like when you move into a neighborhood and The neighborhood is fine. You can put a fence up or you don't have to put a fence up. And a lot of the neighborhood does not have fences. And in fact, the dogs just run around everywhere. But you go out one day to put your fence up, and guess what? Your neighbors are not happy. You're fighting over boundary lines. And it is the same exact thing when we set personal boundaries. Of, I will do this, but I will not do that. People will call you selfish. They will call you arrogant. They will call you bold-headed. They will call you all kinds of unpleasant things. But you know what? You have to learn to make yourself a priority and your peace of mind a priority regardless. If that's what people want to call you, you have to get to the point where you say, you know what? That's your opinion, but I don't need you in my life anymore. And that's not always an easy thing to do. Now, I'm not suggesting we go drop everybody out of our lives, but I am suggesting that to thine own self be true. And if you think that that is arrogant, bold, or selfish, well, then you're not ready for personal boundaries. And I can guarantee you that you're going to have conflict in your relationships. Without having personal boundaries, you will have conflicts. And without having a consequence, if you've set a personal boundary and you're not able to enforce it, well, then you're just telling the person that it's okay, that I'm not really serious about setting this boundary. It's kind of like when you tell your kid, you better be home by 10 o'clock or else. And then they're home at 10:10 or 10:05 and they're trying to see, what the or else is. You better have an or else ready. Or that kid's not coming home till 11 or 12 or 1. Eventually, it will get to that because you may have said you set a boundary, but you did not actually nail that fence up there and make a consequence for the action of crossing it. So let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is let go of guilt. Guilt will kill you. Guilt is like a parasite. It will eat away at you, and it makes you doubt. It makes you start thinking, okay, well, I shouldn't have been so hard. They do this, they do that. I could have did this. Guilt is like, you have to learn to just let go of it. Let go of the guilt, and once again, to thine own self be true. You have to set these boundaries for yourself and your own peace of mind. Until next time, be the change that you want to see. It all starts with you guys. You cannot change anyone else, and you cannot make everybody happy all the time.